and welcome to The Piece of Persistence. I'm your host, Abigail Wright, and today I'm bringing you part 2 of my interview with the hypnotist and opera singer Nicholas Pallesen. If you missed part 1, you can find episode 7 at www.pieceofpersistence.com or on our YouTube and iTunes channels. Now back to the show. Do you have any habits or traits that you would attribute to your success and happiness in this point in your life?
In no particular order. I would say that, for one thing, I definitely practice hypnosis myself every day.
Oh, wow.
I do self-hypnosis a couple of times a day, or even more if I need to. I also make regular use of a lot of the techniques that I teach my clients in sessions. I'm a big believer in giving, when I work with clients, I'm a big believer in giving people tangible, practical tools that they can use themselves to be able to create the changes that they want, so that the work is very self-directed and they don't need to be very dependent on me.
Oh, that's huge.
My business model is create raving fans, not lifelong dependents. And so I use these tools myself because I've found them to be incredibly beneficial. That if I'm feeling energy I don't want to feel, if I'm getting thoughts in my head that aren't really working for me, I have tangible ways to be able to manage that and to be able to get myself right back, reset myself onto the right path. So I use a lot of the techniques I teach clients myself every day. I do regular self-hypnosis. I'm always mindful of just kind of being here now and enjoying this moment, realizing that there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of experiences, there's a lot that's waiting for me in life if I just allow myself to be here now and be open to it. That, if I'm kind of running and racing through my life, trying to get things done, trying to, take that next step in my career, that I feel like I miss a lot of really great opportunities and experiences because I'm just so focused on that thing that life just kind of passes me by. So I'm always really mindful of just being in this moment and loving what is, loving the moment that I'm in right now, and finding the joy, finding the beauty, finding the lessons in each moment. Another thing is I've become incredibly comfortable with not knowing. I love the fact that I don't know. One of the reasons that I love being a hypnotist is because there's so much that we don't know about the mind. And so there's always going to be things for me to learn. There's always going to be things for me to discover. And so I love the fact that I don't know everything because that gives me something to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I love not knowing, where I'm going to be working in a year, because I feel like that gives me much more power to kind of choose the path that I want. Like the old books, Choose Your Own Adventure.
I loved those.
Aren't those great books?
Yes.
I love being uncertain because then I feel like I'm open and I'm available to let life happen, to just let life play out its course. And I feel like too, when I get too caught up in what if, that I lose a lot of perspective and I feel like I lose my own power. I feel like my power and anybody's power is in what is. What if hasn't happened. What if is something we don't have any control over. But what's happening now is where our power is, because now is where we can take action. Now is where we can make choices. Now is where we can do things to help ourselves have more of the what ifs that we want.
Yeah.
So I love being uncertain. I love not knowing what's going to happen because I feel like it just makes life an adventure and allows me to always be mindful of what I need to learn in this moment. And I'd say one of the biggest things, and it's something that I've developed a lot in the last couple of years, is learning to laugh at myself a lot more and learning to take myself less seriously. Anybody who does a session with me knows that, when you come to do a session with me, we're going to laugh a lot.
Nice. Because
I think that change can be really fun. And laughter, one thing that I tell people all the time is that laughter is one of the easiest, it's one of the fastest, it's one of the most powerful, and quite frankly, it's one of the cheapest ways to change our state. Because when we're laughing, we are getting our bodies to produce all that oxytocin, the serotonin, the dopamine, all the other endorphins. We're basically dosing ourselves with drugs that, quite frankly, I think are much more powerful than anything you can get in a pharmacy. And we're naturally giving ourselves these drugs that are going to help us feel better and be happier. And also, so I'm always looking to laugh. And an interesting thing is, you didn't mention this in the intro, but because this is actually something that's very recent. But I recently became certified as a laughter yoga leader.
Oh, what is that? That's wonderful.
Laughter yoga is a unique health concept that was developed in 1995 by an Indian medical physician named Dr. Madan Kataria and his wife, who was a yoga instructor. And Dr. Kataria was very interested in the research about the health benefits of laughter. And one of the things that he discovered is that we can receive, great physiological and psychological benefits of laughter without even needing humor, without even needing jokes, without really needing a reason to laugh. Because the research confirms that the body and the brain do not distinguish the difference between real, genuine laughter and self-initiated or intentional kind of fake laughter. That whether we're laughing just organically or whether we're laughing intentionally, our bodies are still producing all those happy endorphins. So I've become, a big advocate of laughter. We laugh in our sessions. I'm laughing at myself all the time. If I forget something at home and I went all the way down from Washington Heights down to my office in Midtown and I forgot something, rather than getting angry and pissed off, I laugh. And it's just become such a natural response too. So, and then also just taking myself less seriously. Because I feel like, when I do that, now a lot of these things that sometimes maybe used to feel like a huge deal, like the end of the world, or like how was I ever going to be able to accomplish whatever because this happened, now I can just laugh it off and be in a much better place. So I would say that's a big one too.
Laugh more, obviously, but do you have any other advice for us?
Challenge some of those beliefs that maybe you had been holding on to. People come into my office all the time, like I mentioned before, with these ideas of, oh, I always get nervous. I'm an anxious person. I'm always stressed. I've been depressed for, this long. You're always going to have performance anxiety. People come in with all of these beliefs that I think that they've started believing and they've started internalizing into who they are. I tell people that, you are not your problem. You are not your anxiety. You are not your depression. You're not any of those things. Those are just things that you're doing. They're not who you are. And I know that sometimes it feels like change can be hard. And I think on many levels, I think we've been conditioned to believe that change is hard. And to which I tell people, well, look, if you believe that change is hard, it's going to be hard for you to change. So what I've found is that a lot of times the suffering and the anxiety and the stress that I've dealt with in my life has come when I'm kind of fighting against reality, when I'm believing thoughts that probably aren't true. Or I've found that there's a lot, what I call kind of dissonance. That when I've experienced a lot of dissonance in my life, it's been in moments where I'm not living authentically true to my story. That I'm not really living true to myself. And so, for a classic example, I went back and forth, this whole idea of balance of, am I a hypnotist who sings? Am I a singer who does hypnosis? When this work started really exploding, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I kind of freaked out because I was like, there was this thing of, I really love this work and I'm really amazing at it and I'm helping a lot of people and it's really, really fulfilling. It's really fulfilling, but I'm a singer and I'm supposed to be a singer. That's what I've trained to do and I'm having success at it. I'm good at it, so I need to be a singer. But there's this thing that really makes me really happy. And this makes me happy too, enough to where I'm doing it, but that's what I need to do, and it caused me a lot of stress. It caused me a lot of anxiety in my life because I think it was this dissonance. It was this, supposed to be, should be, have to be versus who I am. And I feel that is really what causes a lot of the problems in our life, is when we feel like, we're supposed to be something, or we should be something, or have to be something, when really the only person you're supposed to be is you. And so I tell people, let go of supposed to be's, let go of should be's, let go of have to be's, and just embrace who you are. Because I think that's where a lot of genuine peace and joy comes from, by authentically living your story. So I had to do that myself. I remember to this day that the day that I kind of came out of the closet, so to speak, because, about my hypnotherapy work, because for a while, I wasn't very out about it.
Sure.
Because I was having a lot of forward momentum as a singer, I was having a lot of success, and because, sometimes people have this idea in our profession that if you do something other than singing, you must not be good enough, or you're not serious enough, or you don't care enough, or whatever. People come up with all sorts of stigmas about that. And I bought into it. An example of something that I believed that, I believed a thought, and it got in my way. And, so I fought against that for years. Oh, but what are people going to think? Are they going to think that I've quit singing? Are they going to think that I've given up singing? All sorts of thoughts went in my mind. And I remember the day that I finally said, you know what? I'm going to be a hypnotist who sings. And I felt this immense peace in my life. And yet, when I sent that email to people kind of coming out of the closet, I still remember that I cried as I pushed send.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, what's going to happen? What sort of a response am I going to get? And what's crazy? Like, all that response I thought was going to happen never happened. I got nothing but support. I got nothing but love and encouragement from everybody who I talked to. And the crazy thing is, my singing career got better too. Because now I've embraced that idea that I'm a hypnotist who sings. And that's a totally unconventional path. That's totally not what they, told me in graduate school and my artist diploma and young artist programs. That's totally not the path that we were, shown. This is the path to being a successful singer.
Right.
But you know what? It's not that path at all, but I am damn happy living it because it's my path. And so remember that you are the only person who gets to decide what happiness, what fulfillment, what success mean to you. You're the only person that gets to decide that because it's your life. And if you feel drawn to something that maybe isn't the traditional path, play with it, explore it, see what happens, because you never know what might come of that. And have that courage to let go of supposed to be, to let go of have to be, to let go of should be, and really embrace who you are, whatever that is.
Nicholas, I've been so inspired just to hear your story and to hear how far you've come and all of the amazing work that you do. You're such an inspiration. I'm so grateful that you decided to come and share your time with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on The Piece of Persistence. As always, give us some love with your comments and reviews, and share us with your friends if you liked today's episode. If you want to hear more, there's always an extended audio version of each of our episodes on our iTunes podcast. Thanks for tuning in, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to find more ways to balance the happiness and success in your life.
But if we've forgotten what really makes us sing and dance at night, it's the people around and our dreams that lift us up.